One thing people always wonder when they first find out about wholesaling or when they're learning about wholesaling is if wholesaling is ethical. And although it is ethical and most people are doing the business ethically, there are a lot of ways that wholesaling is not ethical at all. And in this video, we're going to cover 3 of those ways that it's not ethical, and I'm also going to give you a reason on each one how you can do it ethically from the unethical way. If you don't know about me, my name is Alec. I've been wholesaling real estate, flipping, blah blah blah. I've done every single deal possible, and I've seen every single circumstance. I've seen people enter the industry, I've seen people leave the industry, I've seen people not do deals, I've seen people do a lot of deals, I've seen people do the business ethically, and I've seen people do the business unethically. So the first way is something that you probably haven't heard about, and if you have, then you know how much this sucks. And it's what a lot of people in the industry called backdoor wholesalers or backdoor buyers. So what a backdoor wholesaler, backdoor buyer is it's somebody that finds your deal online. So let's say you have a wholesale deal, you are looking for a buyer, you put it online, you put it on some lists, whatever, and somebody actually sees your deal, but then instead of reaching out to you for your deal, they go and they either knock on the seller's door or they skip trace the seller and they call the seller and they try to steal the deal from you. And I've had this happen many times. I've had wholesalers do this, I've had buyers do this, I've had realtors do this, and it's insane. It completely kills deals. It's a headache to deal with because now you have the seller like, hey, why is this guy trying to scare me out of your contract? You have, drama to deal with, and you're just trying to, get the deal done. You're just trying to get the contract, get the buyer, close it out, everybody's happy. And these people just throw a wrench in the wheel. I live in Miami, so I'm in a lot of local, Miami real estate groups, and whenever somebody does this, we blast them in the group. It's be careful of this person. Everybody delete this email from your list. He's a backdoor wholesaler. And it's a big issue for real. And it's a problem. And it's been happening for, however long wholesaling and phone calls have been alive, and it happens in other businesses too. And it's insane that people do this, and it's insane that people think that they can get away doing this. In my experience, almost every single time this has happened to me, it happens because the buyer has come from Investor Lift, has come from Facebook, or has come from Craigslist, or the last one has come from another wholesaler's buyers, where another wholesaler sends out the deal and their buyer list does it. And it's never my direct people, because I vouch for my people, I know who's on my list, but it's always somebody else, or a bespoke program, or just an online resource. You got to make sure you avoid these people. To avoid this, there's a few ways. The easiest way, the most direct way to avoid this, is to not send your deals to anybody else. Not put your deals on Investor Lift, Facebook, Craigslist, not even send it to other wholesalers, unless you can really trust them, and sell your deals on your own. Have good relationships with buyers where you can directly sell the deals. Ideally, and I talked about this in a different video, ways to get started in wholesaling that I'll put right here, but ideally you can reverse wholesale it and you have a buyer lined up before you even get the contract. Now, another way you can avoid this, or a way that you can kind of help prevent it, is by setting proper expectations with the sellers, and setting expectations hey, I'm gonna have people going over the house, some people might try talking to you, stuff like that. You can try to set those expectations. You can also kind of monitor the house, make sure nobody's doing that, especially during showings. I've had people do that to me during showings and stuff too. It's crazy, I'm right there and they're still trying to talk to the seller. Point number 2 is wholesalers not closing. And this is probably my biggest pet peeve, because this one really brings everybody down. And it's not just wholesalers that's bringing down, it's bringing down real estate investors. Everybody suffers because of this when wholesalers can't close. This usually happens for a few reasons. The one main reason is they're probably newer wholesalers and they're misrepresenting themselves, which misrepresenting yourself could be an unethical thing, but in my opinion, I think you need to fake it till you make it in real estate, especially if you're a younger person and you don't have money like I did. I misrepresented myself straight up. When I first got started, I didn't know anything, but I had to act like I did to get deals. I don't think misrepresenting yourself is unethical, as long as you can have a system where you can actually get these deals done. So there's 2 ways that you can prevent this. There's a million, but we're just gonna talk about two ways. The first way is you can be confident in your numbers. And you do that by learning how to comp deals, learning what houses sell for, learning what the value is of the house, learning how to like kind of estimate repairs and stuff like that. And then the second way is you can have a network that can help you analyze these deals, that can help you find buyers that are buyers, that can help you say, yo, Alec, this deal sucks. Don't do this deal. Don't waste the seller's time, and be more confident in your numbers. And if you are looking for a network, I do have a free community called REIpreneurs. I'll put a link right here. It's a school community. We have over 500 people. We have free calls every week. So, join that, network in there, and, use that as a resource to help you, get more deals done. The third one is kind of going to be a two-part, and it's going to be taking advantage of old people and distressed people. And that's not the two parts. That's just like a two-parter, but I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. But not taking advantage of people in distressed states and or old people. So what happens is, especially like, let's say it's like a probate or somebody else doesn't really know what the value of the house is, a wholesaler or buyer can be like, oh, I'll offer you $100,000 for your $400,000 house. And it's just like the seller, the owner doesn't really care about the house, and they're like, okay, take it. And it's kind of like a two sides of this, where it's like, they're happy with the price, so it's a good deal for you, but at the same time it's like, bro, sometimes it's like extra good deals. The deals are like too good, and it's like, dude, you're just taking advantage of the old lady or that guy that lives in a different state and doesn't know what South Florida has appreciated to. I don't want to say like offer more money than what the seller's asking for, but it's kind of like a catch-22 where you want a good deal, you want to make money, but you don't want to completely take advantage of these people. Like, offer them like a fair-ish value, and don't just take advantage of lack of knowledge. I firmly believe in karma. Like, I think that's going to come back to you. And if you're just out there taking advantage of people that don't know, then it'll come back to you. Like, do business ethically. Make sure these people are aware that they're selling their house at a discount, in my opinion. This is super common with like high pressure sales. This is probably where it's like the most unethical stuff happens, where they'll go to this old lady's house and she's kind of vulnerable, and they'll have the contract there and they'll be like, sign it right now, come on, you want to sign it, and then she'll sign it and she doesn't really know if she's like fully signing or like fully ran the numbers. So I think that's where it comes in to really be like prevalent. The second part of this third part is novations. What a novation is, it's where you could buy a house but the seller still owns the house, so you're fixing up the seller's house while they still own it, and then you sell it while the seller still owns it. So it's a win-win for both sides, because the seller can make more money because they could sell it for a higher price, and the buyer can give them more money because they don't have to close on the house and have holding costs and have closing costs and have purchase costs. But the problem is, what some people do with novations is they don't even fix the house, and they don't even tell the seller that they're doing a novation on it, or a net listing is another terminology for this. And they tell the seller that they're a buyer, and then they just list the house in the market. So for example, let's say Susan sells her house. She sells it for $100K. She thinks it's going to an investor, 30-day closing. And then a couple of days after she signs the contract to sell it, she sees her house listed on the market. And she's confused, like, why is my house listed on the market? What she didn't know is when she signed the contract, there was a net listing clause in the contract that says that the buyer can list the house on the market to market the property. And it just causes a lot of confusion. It can be unethical because the seller didn't know that. Maybe the seller didn't want it on the market for personal reasons, and the buyer's like, oh, you signed it, it's your problem. So that's an issue. I don't like when people do that. I think that's a problem. I think that's pretty unethical. So as a recap, wholesaling, just like any other business in the world, has unethical aspects to it. But the good part about it is you can choose whether or not you are in the unethical or the ethical area, because you can literally make that decision on every single deal, and every single deal is independent. So don't be unethical, do business right, and you'll have a longer career in the long run. You won't burn relationships or anything like that. And as I mentioned earlier, you can join REIpreneurs. I would love to see you in there. You could ask questions, you could use it as a resource, especially if you're new. That's such a powerful resource to have. Let me know your thoughts below in the comments. If you think wholesaling is unethical, like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.